Right. I've been requested to explain a couple of these uh, sort of, I suppose, intermediate scenes, flashes, maybe the beginning titles of parts of a game called Ghost of Tsushima. I've not played it before, but it sounds pretty intriguing. I've heard lots of good stuff about it. Student wanted to know what we're looking at here, though, when it comes to these characters. And so I've got 4 examples that they sent me. And what I'll do is I'm going to go through them from easiest to most difficult, or at least most difficult for me, most challenging to me. So first is this one. This is actually fairly simple. This one is shobu. And shobu is still used a lot today. It just describes a match or a contest. In this case, it would seem a duel between parties. And it literally means victory and defeat. So obviously someone wins, someone loses. That is shobu. So it's what is corresponding here with duel. Now, I wish the rest of these were just as easy to reckon with, but let's take a look. This one, I almost didn't recognize it first. It took a moment to figure out that this is clearly an archaic character, or a more archaic version of a character that's used still today, but it looks a little different. It looks like this. All right, and that's my poor graphics tablet handwriting. My handwriting in general is not great anyway. But it's then going to be read as densho. And densho here, densho means like the passing down of folklore. So den is like in densetsu. For example, Legend of Zelda is actually Zeruda no Densetsu. And so the folklore, though, is being inherited or passed down over time. Now, what that has to do with the heavenly strike, I have no idea. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. There's nothing about heaven in here. There's nothing about a strike or aggression or attack or anything like that. So those of you who play the game are going to have hopefully a better understanding of what the passing down of folklore has to do with this odd English. I wouldn't even call it a translation, because it's clearly not translating these characters. It clearly has to do with something else. Maybe it's saying that the Heavenly Strike is a title of the folklore or densho being inherited in the game. I don't know. I'll let you guys tell me in the comments. All right, next, let's see. We've got, this one's really straightforward. I probably should have done this first thing because this is talking about Iki Island. This is more than likely the kanji for Iki. So this would probably, if it were written full out, it would probably be more fully, it would be Ikishima or Ikijima for Iki Island, but they just kind of left it at Iki. So this is I and Ki, and it's already written there if you need the Romaji for it. So what does it mean actually, as far as a name goes? This is actually a very, well, I shouldn't say archaic. It's still sometimes used in the printing of dollar bills and stuff to prevent counterfeiture of dollar bills, of I shouldn't say dollar, but you know, Japanese yen bills. So starting from 1,000 yen up, they start using bills. And so this can sometimes be used for that purpose. I don't know if it's still commonly used on bills anymore. I should go look at that. But anyway, it means ichi. It's the same. Everybody who's done a little bit of kanji study have probably noticed that is ichi now. But at the time, it was important. Imagine if I took ichi, which looks more or less like that, and I drew an extra line. Now that means 10. Counterfeiture would have been very easy. Counterfeiting money would be very easy. So there was another kanji adapted to mean 1 at some point in history, so that wouldn't happen. At least that's my understanding of why this sometimes is used for that purpose. And then this means like a fork in the road. So ki, which could also be read gi, it's just like a fork in the road. So you can imagine it meaning like, I don't know, a single fork in the road or something, or a single fork between something. It doesn't really matter. Because it's a name, it could have any number of other interpretations as well. But that's what we're thinking here. We want to think of this as Iki island, or Ikishima or Ikijima. It's just a name. And then finally, if I can move on, this was the trickiest one. In fact, this was tricky enough that I had to go on. I went online and searched around a bit to try and see what other people thought about this one. The reason why is because so the most likely reading of this is going to be Jin no Michi. All right, Jin no Michi. Okay, why is that? This is actually straightforward. Michi or Do. In fact, let me say this. I actually thought when I first looked at it that maybe, because this character is rarely used anymore, except in referring to older Japanese, which is very reminiscent of Chinese. So I thought for a moment it could be like the Chinese Ren, I guess it would be Ren Chi Dao. And my Chinese is terrible, sorry, but Ren Chi Dao may be what it's about. Maybe there's something specific to that, in which case it would be the way of compassion or humanity or charity or something to that effect. It refers, at least in Japanese, I know it does, it refers to the Confucian virtue of compassion and charity and care and so forth. So that seems kind of straightforward. It has nothing to do necessarily with the shadow of the samurai, though. So what is this about? Why are they relating, this Confucian virtue of compassion to infiltrating a castle, or to something along the lines of the shadow of the samurai, which sounds to me like shinobi. If anything, it should have been Shinobi no Michi or something like that. So I decided, hey, I'm going to look into this. I want to see what other people think. So looked around very briefly and came here to this place where probably was just one of the first in the Google search results list. So this person is talking about us on game catalog of Ghosts of Tsushima. And they mention, let's see, lost my place there. It was right. They mention down here, you can see it there, the Jin no Michi. And they're basically saying that if you don't clear a specific part, the Jin no Michi, which they also are calling in, they apparently needed to highlight for us too what it means, because it's not clear unless you're a game player, I guess, what this is talking about. The main questo. In other words, that's English. That's the main quest. So you can only continue, even if you don't complete this, whatever the ukiokusa or ukiokusa or ukiogusa or ukioso. If you don't clear that, even if you don't clear that, you can still continue in the main quest. So it seems that in the world of Ghost of Tsushima, this Jin no Michi is referring to the main quest, as opposed to one of these sub quests or things that you could do off I guess as a tangent to the main quest. All right, so hopefully that gave a little bit more clarity. I don't know that it totally did for me, but maybe it did for those of you who are game players. Enjoy and keep studying.